It is week 4-ish, I guess. And tonight is the beginning of Module 3. Module 3 is the beginning of flow motion mechanics, the new way that we are going to teach all the new conductors how to generate their movements. And tonight I want to talk a little bit about what that means and how it's different from the past ways that we've generated movements. And I have a very special treat tonight that Adele is going to lead us through some exercises to give another perspective on internally generated movement. It's going to be awesome. I can't wait. I'm going to get up and do it too. And I hope that all of you will turn on your cameras and dance along with us. Tonight's not a night to sit in the background. Tonight's a night to get all involved. And in addition, we're going to use the breakout rooms again. So just like last week, we'll save time to split off into small groups and do some of the exercises that Adele will teach us this evening. Adele, have you got a bunch of good stuff planned?
As I said, I'm just going to throw everybody under the bus.
Throw everybody under the bus. Oh, I like that. I like that idea.
It's going to be
Yes.
an exploration.
Okay. Before we get started, there's a couple of things that I wanted to talk about to get us rolling. And I sent out an email earlier today that I hope that you all got, and I hope that you all have read or will scurry off and read right after class to give you some heads up about some of the updates to the website, and I was a preview of tonight's class, of course. So a couple of things that are important to take note of. Number one is that the navigation links that take you past Module 1 into Module 2 are now live. They take you up through Module 2, Lesson 1. Lesson 2 is something to study on your own. It will be the slideshow about mirror neurons, and you can study that on your own. The full chapter on flow-guided conducting, including all the stuff about mirror neurons, your MIP, dynamic attunement, and the 6 conductor guidelines is now available in Module 2, Lesson 1. So there is that expandable section that just says, here is the text, and you can open that up, and you can also download it. So that's now available. Also going back to Module 1, the quiz is done. So now there's the quiz there that everybody is expected to take. One thing that I haven't figured out yet, just like I said last week, I haven't figured out how to log in your practice points. I'm still working on it, but that's coming soon, I promise. What else do I want to talk about? Oh, yes. So speaking of practice points, for those of you who don't remember what that is all about or haven't been keeping track of that, as a part of the reboot of this course, 101 course, in fact, as a part of the reboot of the entire certification program, you will be required, not those of you who have already graduated, but all new conductors will be required to accumulate 100 practice points over the course of the entire certification program. So that includes 101 and 150 and 200 and et cetera, right? 20 practice points are required for the 101 course. And here's how you get those practice points. You get 1 point for every live class that you attend, and a half a point for every recorded class that you participate in because you don't have time to do a live class. I mean, I get that. That's not always easy for everybody. I recommend you mix them. Get some live practice points and some recorded practice points as well. And I've over the weekend, updated all of the recorded classes so that now all the newest classes are now in those in the recorded class playlists. You can just go and pick the classes that you want to take, the yoga class, the easy flow classes and from your favorite instructors. So that's all updated. And that's all the news that's fit to print about the program. Before we, oh, one more thing about that. I want to thank you guys. I want to just tell you how much I appreciate the fact that you are using those comment sections to talk about the music playlists that you've been creating and asking questions and making comments about, what's been happening in your classes as you've been trying out some of the things that we're talking about here. And I just think that's really awesome. Please keep doing that. Yeah. Okay. Beth or Mr. Beth?
Troy. Troy.
Troy. Hi.
So, hi. Beth's not feeling well, so she's not going to be here tonight. But question for you about the points. Will the points be recorded by our attending, or do we need to keep track of it and report it somehow ourselves?
So this is a good question. I'm still trying to figure out the easiest way to do that without, having to code a bunch of stuff. Theoretically, I believe that there is a way that Zoom itself will keep track of attendance, and then we could record those points. But that might be just too much, and so what we've always done is done the honor system, and we'll just have a way of allowing you to enter in the points that you believe you deserve, and that's how we're going to track them. That's most likely the way that we're going to do it.
So at this point, we should be keeping track of that. And when should we start? Should I go back and say, hey, we've done this last 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, and this is how much we had up to this point? Or since we started at the beginning of the year, or how
So
should we
good
do that?
question. So it would officially begin on September 15th because that was the
Okay.
start of this course. And you can go
Okay.
back and get credit for all the ones you've done, before that or before now up to September 15th, right?
Uh-huh.
Because we did talk about it in the very beginning of class, and it was in the slideshow, so it was something that we'd already started, and it's going to be somewhere like there'll be a web page, there'll be a distinct page in the course where you track all of those things, and we'll just have all of the points that you get on one page, so you don't have to like run around and try to do it for every module or anything like that.
Okay, great, thank you.
You bet. Audra, yes. I have
You're
no
muted.
sound from you. There we go.
Me now.
Yes.
Excellent. So Beth and Troy are not the only people who have asked questions about the points. So just to kind of clarify, for right now, yes, everybody just write them down, keep track of them. I know you said, but just to reiterate that this is for people who are going through the program the first time. While absolutely it's wonderful for our current instructors to also come and do classes just to, stay fresh in your own practice. It's not a requirement for people who are already certified.
Yeah, nobody's getting penalized for going through this program over again and made to do new stuff. But I would encourage you to participate as if this was your first time through, right? So you get the full impact of how the new program is running, right? All of the, just so that you guys know, the conductors who are currently teaching classes, teaching sessions in the studio are getting additional training from me, like in advance of our classes here. And they're doing their best to bring the new practices into those sessions. And so you can experience that, as a passenger by going to those classes, going to those sessions. And it also gives those guys good time to practice so that they get better and better at it. Right? But to to uh, to confirm what Audra is asking, if you've already graduated from this program and got your certification once upon a time, you don't have to do it. You're not going to lose your certification or have to redo this. Not a remedial requirement for you to maintain your certification, right? It's just that I think that um, experiencing the whole package, like get the whole experience, it's going to be really good for you.
And then the other clarifying question, and again, I think you just answered this, but just to make sure everybody's on the same page, 20 classes, 20 points worth for the 101, and then as you move through the remainder of the full learning path, there will be additional points requirements for a total of 100 by the time you're fully certified.
That is correct. That is correct. So,
Awesome.
we've always had this. This has been a mainstay, a central concept in the Tai Chi Fit method that we get best at what we practice most. So that the rehearsal is key. And for you as conductors, this is critical. For passengers, they just show up and do whatever. We have no expectation for anybody to have any level of expertise as a passenger in our classes, right? They just get to come and just ride for free. But as a conductor, that much rehearsal, especially like tonight. Tonight, when we go through Adele's exercises, and the exercise we'll do, more, a different kind of set of exercises next week, etc. We are covering a new approach to how we do our movements, which we call flow motion mechanics, generating from the inside out. And I guess I'll take a minute to kind of make that distinction. This is how I wanted to introduce tonight's material anyway. It was not really intentional, but it turns out that you were learning a template of movement. I gave you a posture called parting horse's mane. And I gave you all of the footwork and the body positions and everything. But consider that that's coming, putting something on you from the outside, and then you have to match that movement. And that's the way you think about it. That's the way you generated your movements. And unintentionally or unconsciously, that leads to things like your tempo and your development patterns, which makes sense if you're learning movements and you're trying to get good at a Tai Chi move. But when you think about this from the point of view of the passengers themselves, right? They're now watching you do this thing, and it feels a bit artificial. They're now kind of going, oh, I guess I better do that. And that's the right way to do it. This is the tacit message that's being transmitted. And it comes through you because of mirror neurons. As you perform these movements, you develop those movements in this way, that's the interaction that their nervous systems are responding to. On the other hand, what we want to do now with flow motion mechanics is generate movements very, very organically. Like it doesn't, we talked last week about how we slow the movements down by almost 50%, right? Half speed. And why? Partly because now the movements don't have to be a certain speed. They have to be a certain feeling. See the difference there? We'll go through lots of exercises where this becomes more apparent. Nice. Okay, just before we jump in, I'm going to turn this over to Adele. Any other questions or comments or observations? Yeah, Bill.
Good evening. I'm still having trouble accessing the material on the website. I've tried under Windows 11 and Macintosh under multiple browsers. I'm just at a loss. Audra has been trying to help me some, but this has been going on since the class first started. I don't see any navigation buttons under the navigation word.
Got it. Let me ask this by a show of hands to see if this is something that other people are experiencing. Can you guys, when you go to the course materials, are you able to see the navigation arrows?
Yes.
How many people, let me ask it the other way. How many people do not see the navigation arrows?
There
Okay.
is one
So-
other person who has let me know that they're having the same problem who's not here tonight. So it is two people that I know of.
Let me do something here for.
Are both of those people new students?
Bill, let me
Yes,
ask you
so
this question. Are you able to log in to the website and
Yes,
go to your
I can
dashboard?
log in. I can log in just fine. I was able to pull down your manual, the introductory welcome video, but none of the other links can I have access to. Audra has sent me a direct link for Module 2 and Module 1. I can open those, but again, I do not see navigation links.
So, where are you? There we go. So are you able to see this page?
I can see that page. My page under navigation does not have the previous and next.
So if we go to, some of the navigation links I just put in there. But if you go to, go all the way back to the beginning, you should be able theoretically to see these navigation links.
I do not.
If they run out, if they stop, that means that I have deliberately not published the navigation. I've hidden them because the page is not ready. But that should go, you should be able to see navigation links. I've activated navigation links all the way through. Here's Module 1, Lesson 2. Here's Module 1, Lesson 3. Got navigation links there. Now, by the way, if you're observing this on a tablet,
No.
you won't see them.
3 different Windows 11 machines and 1 Mac machine. Multiple browsers, all doing the same thing for me. That's why I'm wondering, do I have an account issue?
Maybe. Audra, would you do me a favor and flag that so that I can go take a look?
I already
Thank
have
you.
a meeting set up for us to go over that among a couple other things.
Okay, because that is a possibility, Bill. Which would be really easy for me to fix. That's like a 5-second fix. All right. Well, I'll tell you what, just in the interest of time and because we have so much wonderful things and I want to be able to give us time in the breakout rooms, I am going to introduce my very good friend and yours, Adele, who has been teaching movement from the inside out for a long time. And I reached out to her earlier today to see if she would be interested and willing to share some of the exercises that she teaches in her NIA classes and in her dance classes, to sort of give us a sense of what that's like. And I think it's great to have a different voice than mine and a different approach than mine. I'm going to jump up and be a part of the gallery. So, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, here's Adele.
Hi, everybody. May I first ask that everyone mute themselves? Okay, there's a number of people who are not muted, and it's popping in to your name when there is any extracurricular noise. And the reason that I say this is we're going to get up and move, and we don't want anybody watching us. And I don't care if you watch me, and that's okay. But this is truly about sensation and what you are feeling on the inside of your body. I came to Tai Chi as a movement artist dancer. And in my dancing world, I was stamped, as DDR was referring to, I was stamped with certain moves that we had to get up and do, you know, together as a group, as a stay on the stage or not in class. And when I was introduced to a concept that we call free dance, where it truly was not about what anybody else was doing, but about what I was feeling on the inside and what was coming out from the inside of my body, then I rediscovered the movement that we all did as children. And I think that's what's really important here, to realize that this is not anything scary. To an adult, it might be, because we haven't done childlike, innocent, whatever, anything goes movements for so long. And yet our body is designed to do that. And when we teach from the inside out, the students, our participants, will, that those mirror neurons, they're going to feel that you are feeling and sensing from the inside out, so that it's not mechanical. So I'm going to get you all to stand up. I'm going to move into the studio here, my small studio space here. And oh, DDR, would you make me a co-host? Are you still there? So that I can
Yes.
share music? Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I need to be able to share the music. Okay. Yep, I see it. All right. All right, my friends. Let us first, before I put on music, just get up, and I'm going to give you a few things to play with. Let me change my camera. Okay. So when we were all infants growing, you know, in our mother's belly, we grew literally from the inside out. Our arms and our legs did not develop until the very end. So what developed first was our spinal column. And that's really what I like to think of as the true inside of my body when I'm moving from the inside out. So the core of our body is 3 body weights and the spinal column. So I invite you just to open your legs, soften your knees, okay? Kind of shake, like DDR likes to say, shake it off. And then just make pelvic circles with your pelvis. This is the lowest of the 3 body weights. So just make pelvic circles. And the only way you can do this is if your jaw is relaxed. If your jaw is tight, it connects into the pelvis, because we're all connected. So just relax your jaw. Now go the other direction. And I'm not watching, by the way. I'm just giving you something to do. Nobody's watching. Dance like nobody's watching. The second body weight is our chest, which holds, of course, the heart and other organs. And when we just isolate the chest, let it just roll around in all different directions. This is something to play with in the chest. And then also we can shimmy. These are all movements from the dance world. We can just shimmy our shoulders, relax your hands and just shimmy, shimmy, shimmy. And notice how that changes your breath. Definitely enlivens me. And then our third body weight is our head. And all of these are connected by the spinal column. So how do we do our head? What do we do in Tai Chi with our head? We want to be using our eyes to direct energy, right? So just imagine that you're following a butterfly in the room and let your eyes follow the butterfly. And notice as you do this, there's some sensation of relaxation that comes into the shoulders. And then we have this column of energy called our spinal column. And if we didn't have a spinal column, we wouldn't be here. So I invite you to do a few things just with your spinal column. One is to soften your knees and just let your column move in space like it is an amoeba. And you can actually move your feet if you want to, unless you're in a really small space. And just, we call these spinal undulations because our spine is just moving. I like to think of my spine as like a snake in the water, like a water snake. And then come back in with me in a wide riding stance, soften your knees, just roll your shoulders, let your eyes look up, and then drop through the planes a little bit and roll through your spine and then soften and roll up. Oftentimes in Tai Chi, what I have noticed is that people's spines are very stiff. And we need to be able to move our spine organically from the inside out through spinal rolls, through spinal undulations. And then I invite you to just come back in and let's do a move that DDR often does in the beginning of some of his classes, where he says, move like an octopus. I invite you to just move like an octopus just with your arms. Okay. Octopus has 11 arms, right? So just move with your arms. Now, from the earth through your legs into the core of your body, soften your knees and undulate your spine and move like an octopus. And notice the difference and how that changes your breath. Let your eyes look all around. Your chest and your pelvis are all moving together yet separately. And that is moving from the inside out. So I'm going to put on a couple of songs. The first one, I'll go through those 7 movements with you, and then you just play in your space. And the second song, I'm going to invite you to take those movements and you do your own exploration, those 7 movements that we call core movements of the body that will help to hopefully transform our movements so that we begin to move from the inside out in life itself. And so that we're not just always out here moving, but we're actually moving from the inside out. Let me turn on a couple of songs. They're only a minute and a half each. One movement I forgot, the good one, is just called hip bumps. So just imagine your hips are you're just wiggling your tail. That helps to release. Keep your knees soft, my friends, because when your knees are stiff, the hips can't move. You know, hips don't lie. Isn't that what Shakira says? All right, now do some pelvic circles, just pelvic circles. I don't have to watch you. I'm not seeing you. You don't have to watch me. Come from the inside out. Notice your breath. Now, how about your chest? Isolate your chest. Move it different directions. And then let your eyes look around. Follow a butterfly. Release your feet from the earth. Follow that butterfly in space. And bring that movement into your spinal column. Like a snake. Use your breath. And then shake your shoulders, my friends. Shimmy, shimmy. And take a big cleansing breath. And just roll through your spine. Open your jaw. And roll up. What are you sensing right now? It might be different from the inside out. And now it's your exploration time. You have 7 movements. Play with them. Pelvic circles. Hip bumps. Chest isolations. What are you sensing that feels different? We're going to take these into a Tai Chi movement in a minute. Shimmy. Just shimmy. Let go. Drop your jaw. Notice your breath. And then your eyes, look around. What are you seeing as you roll in and come up? A simple movement that DDR was talking about. And yes, I'm totally going in the moment with this. Capturing the moon. Now step in and toss. Inside out. What are you sensing right now? And come back in, flow across the heart. Sensing the flow through your spine. And take a beautiful cleansing breath, inhaling. Capturing the moon. Eyes looking into the hands. stepping in and tossing away. There's no right, there's no wrong. It's all what you are sensing, my friends. Led from the inside out. And now let your eyes just follow the hands as they circle the earth. And flow into the heart. Your beautiful column reaching to the sky. As we reverse back to the treasure of the earth, moving from the inside out. To the heart's treasure. And to the treasure of the heavens. As your eyes circle the earth, float into the sky with cloud hands. Moving from the inside out, my friends, is organic movement. It is the way we are designed to move. so that we can flow through life with ease and grace. Ah. Thank you, my friends, for that fun movement. Thank you for joining me today. And let's step in and have a conversation.
Thing that was occurring to me as I was moving along with y'all, and then turn it back to Adele to have a conversation, and then we'll slip into some breakout rooms. Next week, I'll talk a little bit about the portion of each movement that we learn in our repertoire where this really comes to the fore, comes to the front. We'll talk about that place. But it occurred to me that we have learned to think of our Tai Chi movements. And in fact, we learn to think about almost any kind of movement that we've ever done, whether it's dance or sports or just functional movement, as having a structure, as having a scaffolding, a structure. I can't think of a better word. So as having a structure, right? And I thought about how I learned structure of movement, right? I learned all of my structure of movement in college because that was where I first began to really connect with my own body, and then in studying, exercise science and kinesiology and exercise physiology, et cetera. Like I learned the structure of all these movements, and it's only been recently that I started to realize that all of that is an attempt by a human brain to describe something that actually is not meant to have a structure. Like when you see an athlete run down the field, you can describe the actions as if it had a structure. But the guy who's running down the field has no fucking clue that there's a structure there. He's just running. He's just pumping away and running. And the idea that there's a structure that needs to take shape and be recreated is artificial, is not organic, right? And so in retraining ourselves in learning to think about our movements this way, we are stripping away this artificial structure. We'll arrive at the same shape, but we'll do it in a more organic fashion. Does that make sense? That's what this perspective is all about. Okay, let me turn it back over to Adele. And I'd love it if you guys would just engage with her, ask her questions, tell her what it was like. And Adele, if you have some prompts that you'd like to use to get everybody going, that'd be great.
So using the word that I did, sensation, which in the world that I live in and that I teach in, we talk about sensation as the language of the body and feeling as the language of the heart. So when I say, what did you sense? I'm really talking about what did you sense in your body? And you didn't sense anything. That's okay too. We have to start somewhere to get back to where we began as children, to truly, like DDR was saying, a runner is just out there running. A child is just playing on the playground, and they're being driven by the language of their own bodies. So I'm curious, anybody?
I had the sensation as we were shifting back and forth of kind of sloshing in a container. I, as we went like this, I could feel, because I was following you, I could feel more of a smoothness and just kind of coming back. But then whenever I got to here, I could just kind of feel it all kind of slosh and then just move back again. And it wasn't, I'm here and I'm here, and just kind of sloshing feeling.
Nice. From the
Sensation.
inside out. Yeah, sensation. Yeah, that's exactly right. Thank you. Audra?
Yeah, I commented that like my back feels great, but also just the sensation of moving, like I could feel the tight muscles starting to loosen up as I was kind of doing the rolling side to side and couple snap crackle pops, because you know that happens. But it was really like, it was interesting to feel everything just gradually soften. It was quite wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you for that. Softening, I think is a beautiful word, and something that I sense when I do Tai Chi from the inside out. I sense a complete softening of my own body, and it transmits to the participants that they have permission to be soft and flowing in their own movements. So thank you, Audra. Kaz.
Hey everybody. So I am also a NIA instructor and I have studied under Adele, and she is just a master of this. But it was just amazing to witness you all incorporating all of this without question, because most time people, when you ask them to go be childlike, as adults we have been so conditioned to think I can't do that, I have got to be this sensible adult. So to see that and to connect to your own individual authentic spirit, like I say, I neify everything. Like I taught my first cycle class today ever. I've been teaching for 30 years, and somehow I managed to bring in the authentic me, because I just enjoy going with taking that sensation and bringing it out. So this will, if you teach multiple different things, this will transform everything that you teach, and it will transform you how you experience life. So this just makes me so happy.
Authenticity, your authentic self. I love that, Kaz. And that is ultimately where I live now, having practiced from the inside out in so many different places, in so many different ways. And you know what it's done also, and I'm speaking a lot to the women here, it's giving me as a woman a voice that comes out very clear and with conviction, that I can speak because it's coming from the inside out. And so I'm really speaking to everyone, but oftentimes as women, we close down to make sure everybody else is okay. Rick.
Hi, Adele. So what I would say is that when I can relax and going through the movement patterns, when I can relax and let go, the feeling is one of being just more connected. Like everything is connected. And if it isn't connected, I can feel it isn't connected as well. But it's the feeling from the inside out. That's what I experience.
Nice. Being connected. Andy?
To me, it's like becoming loose as a goose.
Did you feel loose as a goose?
Yeah, oh yeah.
I was Andy's mentor. So we kind of had loosey-goosey sessions.
Andy, say a little bit more about what that sensation was like.
Well, today I had an interesting visit back at the ROTC commander's office from where I graduated back in 1966. And it was like walking in, standing at attention. And I've kind of felt like I've been standing at attention since 1 o'clock today. And 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 by becoming loose as a goose, I got, my ankles were turning, my toes were moving, they were grabbing, um, just the body parts were moving, but in almost in a sense of discord, but collectively with each other. So it just was taking the stiffness out of it and allowing the body to move and function the way it can.
Let me ask you a follow-up question, and I'm leading the witness here. Um, did that be getting loose as a goose give you more or less vitality?
Well, surprisingly, it gave me more vitality and it also gave me more control over what my body was doing. I mean, that kind of surprised me. I thought that I would just be, flailing in the wind, but uh, I didn't flail.
There is, thank you. This was my leading the witness to get to. There's this beautiful quote from the Tao Te Ching that says, "The hard and the stiff is the way of death, and the soft and the pliable is the way of life." Right. So the result of that getting loose as a goose is feeling like, oh, yeah, I'm like, I got more juice now. That's part of the point, right?
And truly the reason, DDR, that my personal view of what I thought Tai Chi was and whether I liked it or didn't like it completely changed when I was introduced to you. Because that loose as a goose was present, and yet the form was there. But the freedom to also, for me, in my authentic self, to move from the inside out was there. And that's why, I'm now where I am teaching Tai Chi, when I really honestly said, I'll never take that again after taking 3 classes, because it was so stiff and inauthentic is what I felt on, my own personal level. Yeah.
We'll address some of those things next week when I'm going to bring some new exercises. I'm going to dovetail some exercises to what Adele has shared with us tonight. Troy, did you have a question that you, or something that you wanted to?
Well, I had a statement about the being sloshy, but I um, I'm a musician. I say I'm a musician because I'm a musical mechanic. I take the framework of staff and meter and note position and can get the timing, and this goes now and this goes later, and I can make it be expressive to slur things together and to round them off and be more expressive, but it's still within the framework of the story that somebody put down on paper. I'm not a musician in that I can be loose as a goose and just play what's in my heart. What's in my heart needs to be a story that I heard before, I had before, and I could play that, and I feel the expression of it, and I feel wonderful for playing it. But if there's not a story there, there's not a, gee, I just want to make sounds come out and just do things. And as you were talking about the rigidity and the structure, you look at somebody run, well, at some point, somebody wants to describe how somebody launched themselves when they ran, or they just slid as they ran. And they want to describe that difference, to say that difference shaved off some time, or that difference made him be more efficient. And so we school by saying, I'll try that difference. I'll try gliding more rather than launching more, and see how that is. There's stories of dog trot running, in Indian dog trot running, where they could run for forever just by the way that they ran. And you get an image of what that is, and you say, that's not the way I run. I run more bouncing, or I run more leaning into it, pushing and forcing. You say, what if I tried the dog trot run? So as you were describing that, I was thinking of all of these recipes that we get for how to dance or how to position ourselves as we do things. We get this recipe, and we kind of need that in order to say we're going to do it this way rather than this way. We kind of need that to get a little structure. But I love this, and I'm looking forward to being a little more relaxed, taking the recipe, but going with it and flowing with it.
This is a really, really wonderful description of how we have always assumed, because it was part of our education. This is part of the Western education system, that we need these recipes, we need these structural templates in order to get to a certain point of expertise or performance, right? So the way that you're describing this now, and also the way that you describe what you perceive as your limitations in making music or in making movement or whatever, are things that are inauthentic, in the sense that you make the assumption that you need to do that because that's what you were taught. That's what you were taught, is how to do it. What the Tai Chi Fit method suggests, and what we've proved over, the last couple of decades, decade and a half anyway, is that in the space of that 40-minute, transition between non-flow and near flow, without having a template, without telling anybody what to do, we can get to the same place without needing to have your recipe. I'm going to, as your conductor, like if I'm the conductor of your session, that what I'm going to do is I'm going to hypnotize you, literally, because we're using Ericksonian method here. So I'm going to hypnotize you into getting to that same place. Now, there's two, for those of you who take notes, and some of this stuff is in your course material. There's two interesting concepts that we're going to contrast. Does flow or music or running or dancing, does it emerge because you put a bunch of stuff together? Or is it inherent? Is it already inside you? This is a competing concepts, what's called the emergent theory or the inherent theory. And what your education has taught you in music and in exercise and, you know, in performance, in work, et cetera, is that everything is emergent. I've got to get all these different ingredients and I've got to put them together according to the recipe and I've got to mix them in the right way and then it will happen. The competing theory is that all of that stuff was already in you. You already had all the ingredients. You didn't need a recipe because it was part of you from the moment you were conceived. And what the TJF method says is that the reason why you're not experiencing music organically or running organically is because there's too much shit in the way. And this is a method of getting rid of that. Now, is there a benefit to sort of, you know, giving you a model? Yes. But what we're doing with the TJF method is say, you don't even have to learn the model. Like, I'm going to model the movements for you. You don't have to memorize them. You don't have to try to do anything about it. I am going to stimulate your mirror neurons so that all of a sudden it comes out of your body in a way that you're going, like I did on my first day of Tai Chi, you know, 47 years ago, when all of a sudden my body was moving. I'm like, I don't even know how this is happening. I don't even know why my body is moving like this. I never thought my body would ever move like this. Like it's somebody else inhabiting my body. Right? That's the experience that the Tai Chi Fit method intends to recreate. Does that make sense? The experience and the sensations. And so this is I'm so glad that you expressed it this way, Troy, because this is how we might make an impact on other people's lives. Just in the same way that you have this assumption that, you know, this is what it takes to make music, or this is what it takes to be a runner, right? It's not necessarily true. And we know that because we can watch people who've never taken a fucking lesson in their life, who do it organically and naturally and extraordinarily. Does that make sense? Yeah, this is great. So rather than carry the class forward and go into our breakout sessions, I think I'm going to end our class tonight a little bit closer to an hour. And next week we'll jump right into some breakout rooms. Maybe if Adele would continue to be so generous. And by the way, Adele, thank you so much for all the generosity of providing that. You give us a little reminder, and then we'll jump right into breakout rooms at the very beginning. And then when we come out of the breakout rooms, then I'll do some of the next lecture on flow motion mechanics. And I think this is really great. Yeah, Troy.
DDR, before you jump to Troy, I
Go
just want to
ahead.
point out what Dan said and in the chat, and it's yeah, it's very informational because he said for Dan said, he said it was a change of a mindset for him when his mind switched to allowing the movements to come from the inside. It changed the structure and became organic. And I think that's a lovely way of putting it. We put into our minds we have to do it a certain way, when indeed, when we say that it can be from me, from my inside out, then it completely changes how we move. So I just wanted to point that out because he wrote that in the chat.
Yeah.
That's all.
There's a progression there of mindset from the minds. So we're all in possession of a certain mindset that is fairly similar because we all went through a fairly similar kind of educational system. And that educational system is fairly consistent for the last 100 years or so about, what a student has to learn and how a student has to reproduce what the teacher has presented, et cetera. Right? So we are all like victims of that. So we all have that kind of same mindset. Then we get introduced to somebody like Adele who says, no, we can get rid of that. We can have a different mindset, right? The eventual place that we're traveling towards is the place of no mindset. Right? There is no mindset. When you get in up until the point of deep flow, of true flow, you have some kind of mindset. Right? We're all in possession of something, even if it's like, I'm just going to be like loosey-goosey. That's our mindset. But once you go from near flow into true flow, deep flow, there's no more mindset. It's just wu wei. It's just um, intuitive, spontaneous action. Troy, yes. And then
Just, this is totally off topic, back to the website. I haven't been to the website much before, but I'm looking at it now and I could get as far as module 2, lesson 2, and then it kind of comes to an end. There's no more navigation or anything. Is that where, as it should be?
that's
Okay,
where
fair
it should
enough.
be. Yes. And Bill, I did some changes while we were talking to your profile. You might want to try it again just to see if it made any difference. Dee, yes, you'll be our wrap-up hitter.
Thank you for that. And Adele, thank you. For me, it felt like the experience felt like a little girl at play. And the skirt swishing and turning and just having a good time, the freedom of play. And this reminds me that it is so similar to those strong grief emotions. Many of you are aware that I work with loss and grief and bereavement, those strong grief emotions that are inside. And I advocate finding a way to get them out. And is coming from the inside out, allowing the body to express. And when those emotions are so strong, you don't always know how they're going to come out. So the non-judgmental acceptance and feeling the freedom of it's okay to be authentic and just release them and let them come out. So, thank you for that.
Adele, do you have any things that you'd like to bring to have some completion for tonight?
I think Dee did a great job completing that. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
And I look forward, I hope that you will take some of this, all of this, any of this knowledge that you have discovered within yourself, something different, out into what you do this week. That to me is the most important thing. I can take a class and then I can walk away from the class and poof, it's gone. But when I can take a class and take it out into my own life, then it becomes transformational. So that's my hope, my wish for you all is to move this week breathe this week, speak this week from the inside out, and become who you are meant to be, your authentic self. So, yeah. Thank you for allowing me this time too, DDR. And speaking of being thrown under the bus, he's the one that threw me under the bus because it was only an hour and a half before class that he asked me to do this. Okay, I just need you to know. So I said, I'm going to throw them under the bus. And that's a term that we say in the dance world. We just put somebody up front and have them teach.
I knew you had so much that you could just, that you have readily available. And I'm so grateful to you. So thank you so much.
Thank you for
All right,
asking me.
so let's end here. Again, I'll do my best to have the recording of tonight's class edited and available on the website in Module 3, Lesson 1, as quickly as possible. Please do continue to attend flow sessions in the studio and keep track of your sessions. If you can't make a live class, you'll attend one of, and by the way, so the honor system says that you're not just sitting on your bum watching the recorded classes. You have to actually that's like taking my Tai Chi DVD and putting it under your pillow and go, oh, I learned Tai Chi that way. You have to actually get up and move along with them. Have a wonderful week. I love you all very much. Thank you for being here tonight, and I'll see you next Monday.